Alrighty, what's going on, Transportation Nation? Ah, man, that's cheesy. I like it though. Anywho, hey, what's going on, y'all? Happy Friday to you, man. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Bro, so I have this saying, right? And that saying is you will miss 100% of the baseballs you do not aim at. Actually, if you like baseball, you would know that you'll probably miss those too because it's an incredibly hard sport. But yeah, man. So I wanted to kind of walk you guys through what I mean by that. With school coming up and the summer getting ready to ramp up, we want to make sure we're definitely prepared to accommodate people this fall when school comes back and transit service picks up. We're kind of chilling now, but eventually we know we're going to have to get more drivers and things of that nature. So what you're seeing on my screen is an ad that I did. So there's a bus system here in Baltimore called the Loop. It's out in Towson, beautiful area. I definitely would recommend you check it out if you ever visit. When they had initially began, they had approached me to assist them in getting drivers, and I created this ad for them. I don't know how many are there now. This was about 3 years ago, but this ad, man, it probably got me about 200 leads. It's one of my favorites. And I want to kind of walk you guys through the intentionality, the thought process, and again, coming back to you're going to miss 100% of the baseballs you don't aim at. And recruiting works the same way. You need to know who you are speaking to, why you are speaking to them, and where they are located. And all of that's going to be covered in this ad. So I'm going to kind of walk you guys through step by step to kind of clarify. So if you're still with me, let's get the show on the road. I said the show. I did not curse. I said let's get the show on the road. The show. Okay. So 2 seconds in, you get the catchy music or curious music, for lack of a better word. That is intentional. You also can see that on this slide, there's a bunch of written information. Here's why. We understand that currently you gotta have the captions as well as the video, and you gotta have the sound as well as the captions. Here's why. There are people like me who do not leave their phones off of mute. My phone is typically silent the majority of the time. This is why every video has captions now. You need to be able to have something that people can read because you still need an alternative way to catch their attention so they do not scroll past you. There are also some different communications on this particular page. I'm only 2 seconds in. The first one I want you guys to notice is the Are you a bus operator? Here I am indicating and articulating that I'm looking for a specific type of person. So somebody who's not a bus operator, they may or may not look at this. Somebody who is a bus operator is going to be a lot more liable to at least give me 3 more seconds to see what I'm talking about because I'm directly calling them out. In addition to that, I also have these little subheaders up here. So you can kind of gather in the first 2 seconds that what I'm about to say here somehow may be correlated to this. When we design these, we want to ultimately gain more time. So what I say in the first 2 seconds needs to lead you to the next 3 seconds. What I say in the next 3 seconds needs to get you to the next 4 seconds, so forth and so forth. So also the branding. So when I had ran Super, one of the big attractive points to it was framed like a startup. It was transportation. It was recruitment, industries that have typically been known as a gentleman's game. But we framed ours like a startup. Simple color schemes, cool one word name that nobody's ever heard before, things of that nature. Ultimately, we were still driving buses or recruiting bus drivers. But the branding, it was much easier to talk to a certain demographic. So I want you to stay with me because all of this is connected, all of it. Are you stuck at work on Sundays? Again, I'm creating a pain point here. Creating a pain point and kind of teasing the solution. Pain point, teasing solution. Bam. So these next two slides were to generate humor. Humor will always be the gateway to another 2 or 3 seconds whenever you're trying to get somebody to buy into anything. You have to be able to kind of have this charismatic approach, kind of, sort of. So here, when we talk about uh try to back, that sucks. You're gonna miss Lamar. You're gonna miss Lamar Jackson because you're at work on Sundays. Now, to take you guys back 3 years, um, the Ravens were the hottest ticket in town. And I think it would have sucked to not be a part of that environment. Every Sunday was special. This was that year we won like 14 games in a row. Um, Again, talking to a direct pain point. And what I want you guys to understand is up until now, I'm talking to a specific person. It may not seem that way, but I'm talking to a specific kind of bus driver. So we established that I'm looking for operators in the first slide, and I'm looking for ones that may be interested in Sundays off, and they potentially may be getting frustrated that they're missing football. Again, I know it seems weird on the surface end, but if you stick with me, I promise you'll see that it's all connected when it's all said and done. So we're going to bring up some humor. Memes. That is another way to get your point across. People love memes. I don't know why. I am an old guy. I kind of don't like them, but the people I'm trying to address or talk to, the target does. Is it because of seniority? I'm asking the question again, right? I highlighted the problem and now I'm trying to find out why the problem's being caused. Particularly, and I can kind of break it down for you guys like this. Understanding that this particular client could not hire they could not hire incumbents. So I could not train my own bus drivers. I like to grow my own bus drivers. It's great to be able to grow your own. I put it like this. I like to be able to grow my own food instead of having to hunt animals, if that makes sense. Not that drivers are animals. I'm just trying to illustrate the picture for you. That's always been my mentality. But with this particular client, that wasn't possible. So what we have to do is I got to talk to people who already have their CDL. Okay, so in a sense, I'm going to kind of have to either find people who are just sitting around and not driving, which it's not impossible, but it's not practical. And it's not practical because if you're a driver, typically you drive. So I'm kind of, I got to find people who are not driving, or I got to find people who are, and this is going to suck to say, people who are driving for somebody else. This ad, up until this point, has been talking to people who have already been driving for somebody else. Got me? You tracking? All right, let's keep it moving. A little bit of humor right here. Because you weren't born when some people started working here. This is I wouldn't say the nail in the coffin, but this is the exclamation point. This establishes the audience that I am targeting. I am talking to younger people who prefer to have a Sunday off, who like football, and are stuck at the bottom working bad shifts because of seniority. That is who this ad is designed for. It is not designed for taxi cab drivers. It is probably not even designed for motor coach drivers. Typically, a lot of motor coach drivers aren't young. School bus drivers already have Sunday off. This particular ad was talking directly to people who have driven some sort of transit, whether it is airport transit or mass transit. Typically, college transit is not open on Sundays. This is talking to people who either worked for the airport or worked for MDOT MTA. They were younger because I'm referencing the age pain point that I have to work these bad shifts because I happen to be born in the year 1997 when somebody else started working here in 1985. Now, we understand that, we want people to pay dues. We get all the industry jargon, but here's the thing about industry jargon. It only works on people that are in the industry. It doesn't work on everybody else. And we've seen that this generation does not particularly care about those things. So this ad was talking to them directly. And there's a reason for that. And I'll explain it as we continue through. More humor. Gotta have your humor in there. Pitching the solution right here. Like, I have the solution. If I got you here, and I've said all of this in 30 seconds, so it's not far, even if you don't have your volume on, 30 seconds, I should still have your attention now. This is the call to action. Now I'm getting ready to go into the pitch. Photo of the bus. Why? This generation identifies with photos. That's why Instagram's so popular. Solution. I spent the earlier part addressing the problem, and now I'm going to get into the solution a little bit in the same format I addressed the problem with. Now, when we talk about transit and things like the airport and stuff like that, when we just talk about transit in general, we know a lot of these bad shifts are a result of things like split runs. This particular agency had, I think at the time, they had like 90% straights. So when I was initially working with them to draw up an idea that I think would, land them drivers, sometimes you got to, if you're an agency and you're looking to recruit people and you can't afford to pay $50 an hour like those lovely folks in Washington. No, I'm joking. I promise. I love you guys. Um, you have to find your competitive advantage. What is it that I have to talk to? What do I have to offer? What is my specific value proposition? And where a lot of people in our industry go wrong is that they their value proposition is the fact that they just think they have the job opening. It's just kind of like, hey, we're hiring. You should come work here. We have this phrase around here that we want to tell people why. So many bus jobs tell people what, like, hey, what? Come drive the bus. Why? We don't know. And that's kind of what's going on. It's not enough to talk about money because everybody can't be bought. And then again, you have people that are in agencies where, if you're a smaller company or you may not have that funding, you might not be able to afford to pay somebody 28, 29, because we know transit or just buses in general, the profit margin is low. So you have to be able to identify, and every company has one, whether you think you have one or not. Every company has a competitive advantage. This particular company at the time had less split runs, more straight time, which equals more time home, which is factual. If our runs are only 8 hours, you have 16 hours to do what you want. Now, you got to sleep for 8 hours, great, but you have 8 hours to do what you want. If you work for a random airport shuttle and you have a 12 to 12 swing, you have a 12-hour swing with a 4-hour break. I always put it like this: whether you want to acknowledge it or not, you're still tied to work. Here's an example. If I work at 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and I'm not scheduled to come back until 2 p.m., not that I drink, but can I go get wasted? I cannot. Can I take a day trip to Florida? I cannot. Why? Because I have to come back to work. I'm still tied to work. And I would put it like this. Let's say you don't want to do anything as extreme as that. Let's just say in those 4 hours, I want to wear my uniform and go do some crazy stuff. I might want to untuck my shirt. I might want to go get face tattoos or whatever the case may be. While I'm in that uniform, you guys are going to want me to represent the company. Let's be factual. So you're still tied to work whether you're on the bus or not. With this company, that's not a problem. When you're here, you're here. When you're not here, you're not here. You get more time home to do the things you like. Now, 18 an hour. I want you guys to also consider that this was 3 years ago, so it was a different time before everybody started paying 25, 26, etc. But also, again, there is a reason that I put this here. Most people like to hide the number. I don't. And here's why in this particular instance, I did not. So we understand with this ad, even from a geographical standpoint, I may show you guys this later, how I actually targeted specific areas, specific buildings, and things of that nature. At 18 an hour, if somebody was at, let's be honest about it, the competitor's agency, that's what it honestly is. At 18 an hour, unless they were in their second or third year, they would not be losing much by taking this job. They would not be losing much. This ad was specifically talking to younger people who are on the internet because they have to see it, who are frustrated that they do not have Sundays off. They're frustrated because they feel like they're at work all day. These are young people we're talking about. They are very sensitive about their time. Time is currency to this generation. This group of people would have been a lot more liable to say, you know what? I value straight time because I want to be off to do the things I want to do more than I value my current job, even if that pays me an extra dollar or two. Furthermore, I understand with the younger generation, if they have more time, they may just pick up a side gig in the realm of Uber, Lyft, Amazon, Grubhub. You take your pick. So the money does not matter as much to them, but the transparency does. So it's important we get that out here. So we've established an entire storyline here. We find in bus drivers who may be frustrated that they don't have seniority and they don't have Sundays off because they jokingly cannot watch football. It's a audience. And so now we know who we're talking to. And it's important to understand that because, again, you will miss 100% of the targets you do not aim for. Another pain point. Why? Because when you first start driving the bus, you typically get the bad shifts. You typically have to work long swings. We address that. You typically have low seniority. We address that. And you typically have to work overnight. We address that too. You don't have to work overnight here. Again, aligning this agency's competitive advantages to the forefront and kind of really highlighting the value proposition to the driver. And here's the thing, guys. We in in our I guess I can't really describe the word, but we think just because we have the job, we have the prize. And that's not really the reality. Everybody has a job. Everybody has a job to offer now. So it's not really a new thing. No overnight shifts. This entire ad was about highlighting the value to the driver, and it put it in media. Very important. Media that they will receive, media that they will listen to, and we want them to apply what they received. The standard Craigslist ad will only probably work for drivers who've been laid off or they're disgruntled. That's the reality. This can target somebody who just may not be as happy at their job. You kind of get where I'm going with that? Overnight shifts, direct pain point, and we're highlighting it. We're putting it directly in front of you. No crazy riders arguing about fare. They had no fare box. Again, competitive advantage. No city traffic, competitive advantage. You kind of get where I'm going at with this now. Addressing pain points. If you were a younger driver at the time at one of the city's transit agencies, this was the prior. This was approximately right before football season. So you're used to dealing with traffic. If you don't have seniority, you're getting those bad shifts that are either bad times, they're overnight, or you're going to be stuck in traffic because the people with seniority can afford not to work them. I can take that away from you and still kind of pay you close to what you were making. More humor. This is probably the most important slide in here. This generation, again, I mentioned it earlier, is very time sensitive. I remember maybe 2 years ago, I had applied to work a few places, government transit, so it wasn't a vendor or anything. 2 weeks, you may hear we received your application. Maybe. I kid you not, I'm not going to log into it now. But if I showed you my government jobs account, I can probably show you, I think February was when I filled out for a position. And I think I officially was declined in November. So that's like 6 or 7 months, y'all. It's hard to get that approach across when you're dealing with a generation who can pick up their phone right now, go to Amazon, Uber, Grubhub, even FedEx to a degree, fill out something online, and be contacted that same day. It's extremely hard to compete with that because we live in a society now where instant gratification, I'm not saying it's right. Don't. I'm not trying to push that agenda. But what I'm saying is it's where the football is at. Whether we like it or not, that is where the football is at on the field. People are used to posting this picture and getting a like immediately. Have you guys ever seen somebody who posted something on social media and it does not get the engagement that they wanted it to get? They will literally sit and you tell me if I'm wrong. They will keep refreshing that screen waiting for that first like or piece of engagement to come from. It's not a bad thing. I'm just trying to help you guys understand this is where the ball is. So instead of us trying to fight that, we got to meet it there. So we understand that. Uh, First Transit or First Transdev, whoever they are now, congrats to those guys, are great with this. Some of us are not, but that's cool. We got to talk about it first. So, anywho, applies today, start next week. I'm addressing a pain point. People who may have filled out for transit jobs who have not heard back yet. Maine, more humor. This ad was in Baltimore. This is a very recognizable ad in Baltimore's Carmelo Anthony, who's from Baltimore, and this is kind of that "Are you serious?" look. Like, yeah, we're serious. You can apply today and start next week. Also, that was a competitive advantage that that client had. Yep. Ease of accessibility, right there. You can get to it from this link. Join our team today and relaunch your transit career. Again, talking to drivers who probably already work for people. And that's it, man. So that is it. So do me a favor, guys. If you guys enjoyed this, I need you to put it in the comments or like it so I know that this was a good formula or a good way for you guys to receive information. If you ever want to talk things like recruiting, marketing, hit me up, man. I love to talk about a good ad. I love ads. Yeah, I'm probably one of the few people that love ads. But anyhow, man, you guys have a good Friday. I hope that this was helpful. Oh, one more thing. So when when we talk about targeting, we targeted these on all social media. It was YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. TikTok wasn't really a thing yet. It was on its way, but it wasn't there yet. We just targeted bus depots. That was literally it. Facebook will allow you to pick it by or used to allow you to pick it by longitude, latitude, address. We just targeted the depots. Again, understand it. I'm talking to younger people, so I'm setting this ad to only really show to people who are under 35. Realistically, somebody who's 35, secure, family, they're probably not going to leave. Somebody 23, young, maybe a little bit more than a 35-year-old would do. So we programmed them like that. We were very specific on who we wanted them to talk to, and we just targeted buildings. You can target buildings with ads, and we did that because we know young people are on the internet. So you guys can see like it was all connected. So, anywho, this video has gone on much longer than I intended. It was a pleasure talking to you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day.